The movie starts with the Roman Empire led by General Acacius, whom I play, invading Numidia, which is northern Africa, where our lead, played by Paul Mescal, is hiding out. And it's just a perfect way to start the movie. And in my eyes, an incredible homage to how the first movie starts. And Acacius is the general of Rome. He's leading the army into the invasion. What got me interested in the movie are such big and obvious things. One being Ridley Scott, and two being the first movie. I saw the first movie multiple times in the movie theater when it was released in 2000, wasn't it? And I grew up watching Ridley's movies, and so many. He might be the only director that I can say has multiple films in my top 10, and I'd be in anything under his lens. What makes the original so memorable, and the reason behind it having such major impact, I think, is that it's a classic Hollywood cinema, but with really emotionally rich characters, performances, and storytelling. And there's something very, very grand in scope, elegant, sophisticated, bloody, sexy. It's all the things that really sort of like fill in the word epic. There are so many important ways to thread this sequel to its original source. And the best way to do that, I think, is with Lucilla's character and her son, Lucius. And Acacius really serves Lucilla first, and the Roman Empire second. He's a soldier, not a politician, as he states often in the movie. And so he knows who to honor and to protect that with his life. There are so many reasons behind wanting to be in this movie. And one of them is Paul Mescal. I think as this younger generation of actors emerges, I would definitely make him the lead of my movie. It's an incredible challenge to sort of step into a role like Lucius because of how memorable the first movie is. And if there's anybody that could do it, it's Paul. And I think that what he brings to it is incredible talent, an incredible athleticism, and he's a babe. Those are the only three things you need. Connie Nielsen, to me, is iconic in the role of Lucilla in the first movie. And if I'm being honest, totally my favorite character. I find her to be the most complex, and I've been having conversations with her from the perspective of Acacius, but also just from my personal opinion. I'm like, I think that she's the smartest person in the room. And was so, and has found all of these complex ways to navigate her existence in a world of men and to survive. And so I just love that. And I feel like, again, there isn't anybody like her who can fill those shoes within this world. Denzel Washington is an untouchable movie star. And that has to do with an unmatchable talent and an unmatchable star quality, especially for my generation, or the kinds of big-time talent that you grow up watching in the cinema. The star power is incomparable, in my opinion, and held up by the fact that he's an unbelievable actor, and on film, on stage, in front of the camera and behind the camera. I find Ridley to be the hardest working man in Hollywood and the most direct, challenging, charming. I think that he is this incredible contradiction of having such specificity in terms of what the visual setup is, and yet he delights utterly at the spontaneity that an actor will come up with, something that he would never have thought of himself, and absolutely sort of depends on in a way that you wouldn't expect, because it has to be such a controlled environment to be as big as it is, and yet somehow he finds a way to keep it completely organic and spontaneous. In movies like this one, I think that, the important departments of costume design, hair and makeup tell as much of the story as do the words on the page and the performances of the actors. I wouldn't have a character if it weren't for what I was wearing and how I looked. It is the best I've ever looked. It's just like the highest talent out there, and yet still giving the space to collaborate and to kind of fit the design to each individual character. I'm so grateful to have gotten to experience this, because I've, up to now, for most of Ridley's career, have experienced it as a spectator, and have always just like eyes wide open, dazzled by so much of it. And to get to be practically part of the experience of making one of his movies is really something I didn't expect to happen. And also for it to live up to the expectation in the way that it did. I think location is everything, especially when it comes to telling a story. And if you can have the real thing, it really makes a difference, or at least the kind of area in the world that Malta provides as far as the sets of Gladiator are concerned. The size of this Colosseum. I've been on some major sets, and I've not been on a set like this one. I didn't think I could see something bigger than some of the things that I've seen, and this is definitely the biggest.